Hi, welcome back to my channel, Zen and Fit, where I talk a lot about mental health, health and wellness, as well as some general lifestyle topics from time to time. So in today's video, I'm going to actually be returning to the special series that I've done previously before on well-known individuals who've been open about their mental health journey. And in today's video, I'm actually going to be covering Lark Voorhies. But before I jump into the video, if you could please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Although Lark is well known for her role on Saved by the Bell, where she played Lisa Turtle, she was also involved in a lot of other film projects as well, and TV series. She was on at least 50 episodes of Days of Our Lives, and she did a couple of episodes even on The Parkers in the late 90s. She was also on an episode of Family Matters, and she did have some roles in some film projects as well during the 90s and early 2000s. There was an extended period of time that Lark was not seen in Hollywood. And a lot of this had to do with her mental health issues that she was dealing with behind the scenes. And it was for a period of time where Lark wasn't even fully accepting of her mental health issues, and as a result wasn't really getting the type of treatment that she really needed to address her mental health and improve her mental well-being. About 6 years ago, Lark actually did an interview where she was on a television show where she talked about her mental health, and she was on the show with her mother and I believe possibly like a psychiatrist who was treating her at the time. Lark talked about how she was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. Some people pronounce it as schizoaffective disorder. But basically, she discussed how it affects her, how it impacts her life, how it affects her ability to form words when she's talking. It's like she can't really verbalize everything, even though she's thinking it in her mind. And as any of you can imagine, that can be difficult for anybody. It's like you want to verbalize certain things, but it's not fully coming together. It's not organized. People who have schizoaffective disorder often experience disorganized speech. And this could possibly be what Lark was experiencing. In addition, with schizoaffective disorder, individuals may experience hallucinations. It could be auditory, where they're hearing things that other people aren't hearing, or they may have visual hallucinations, where they're seeing things that other people are not seeing. Sometimes it's shadows, individuals. And I do want to mention that there are other forms of hallucinations, such as tactile hallucinations, where you're feeling things on your skin, sensory, also like olfactory hallucinations where you're smelling things that other people are not smelling. So there are other hallucinating symptoms that a person can experience, but a lot of times the most common is the auditory hallucinations as well as the visual hallucinations. So I did just want to acknowledge that. But going back to the auditory hallucinations, as you can imagine, if a person is hearing voices in their ear, how distracting that can be when it comes to them trying to interact with other people in society and just making conversations with people. Because when they're talking to someone, let's say they're talking to their parent or they're talking to their friend, having a real conversation, they're still more than likely hearing things in their ear. And so it's really distracting for them. And so you may notice that a person who is dealing with auditory hallucinations, they may often get distracted, or they seem like they're not fully hearing you. And a lot of times it's because they're hearing these voices or whatever they're hearing in their ear. And so they're also trying to follow you, and it can be hard for them to do that. You may also see someone who appears to be talking to themselves, but it may be for them that they're hearing these voices and they're responding to these voices. And also, too, I do want to acknowledge that when it comes to auditory hallucinations, some people experience commanding hallucinations, where these the things that they're hearing in their ear is commanding them to do things. So there is a percentage of people that do experience commanding auditory hallucinations. So with schizoaffective disorder, like I was previously discussing, they can experience hallucinations. They can also experience delusions, as well as the disorganized speech. What makes schizoaffective disorder distinct from someone who is diagnosed with, let's say, schizophrenia? Schizoaffective disorder, the predominant feature, of course, is the psychotic symptoms that that person is experiencing, and usually their onset with these psychotic features occurs first, but they also experience like a mood disorder as well, whether that's like bipolar disorder or major depressive disorder. So that's what makes schizoaffective disorder different from schizophrenia. Someone who has schizophrenia, the predominant feature is just the psychotic symptoms. Whereas schizoaffective disorder, this person has the psychotic features, but they're also experiencing, let's say, depression at times or manic episodes from bipolar disorder. And so that's what makes those two diagnoses different from each other. When you see someone diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, it means that their predominant is the psychosis, but they also have a mood symptom as well. And so that's why they're getting a diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder versus schizophrenia. So I just wanted to provide that as information, not to diagnose anyone, but just as information out there. And as a reminder, this video is not intended to diagnose anyone or provide any type of therapy services in any capacity. This is just general information. And of course, you know, this video is not going into all the specific details about this diagnosis. It's just providing general information. So I do just want to disclose that. And getting back to Lark, I think it's wonderful that she was willing to share her journey of mental health and what she's gone through. And I think it's great that she got to a point in her life where she was willing to receive and seek out mental health treatment and address her mental health concerns. And it doesn't mean that her life is perfect now, that everything is running smooth. I'm sure she still has periods where there's ups and downs. Because even when a person is participating in mental health treatment services, it doesn't mean that all of their symptoms go away, especially for mental illnesses such as schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. There's maybe a point where a person learns how to live with some of their symptoms. And of course, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a physician, so I'm not saying, oh, this is how a person will respond, but just based on experiences of what people share is that not all of their symptoms go away, or they may experience adverse reactions when they're on certain medications addressing their psychotic symptoms. So just keeping that in mind, it really is a process, it's a journey, and every day is not perfect. There's peaks and valleys, just like we all encounter in life. And so getting back to Lark, I do want to commend her for being willing to share her journey, because I think it can be helpful for others out there to understand and be more empathetic to individuals who are living with mental illness, that they are human beings. They're people, just like all of us. They just have a mental illness. And just like somebody who's dealing with a medical condition such as like diabetes, that person's trying to live and survive and hopefully thrive in life if they're getting treatment. So when you put a face with a name, I think it does help reduce the stigma surrounding mental health. And it allows other people in society who may be dealing with a mental illness to be more willing to acknowledge that they have a mental illness and seek out treatment to address their mental health symptoms as best as possible. So I hope you found value with this video, and I look forward to reading any feedback or comments you have. And please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. So until next time, take care.